First, I just want to go ahead and start off this video by saying that I'm not just going to be defending Nintendo entirely just because I am what you would potentially even call, and I even know this myself, a Nintendo fanboy, that I'm just not going to be defending them when it comes with their whole EULA update that they recently had, and as well as them updating or kind of now being the ones implementing this new thing called the game key cards. And in fact, for some people, that's not actually really a new thing that Nintendo is doing here. For those of you that don't know, PlayStation and Xbox, when it comes to them actually bringing games and or adding games into their systems when you're buying them physically, most of the time those discs that you're purchasing are just basically game key cards themselves. They don't really have the full game into the disc themselves. What you need to go ahead and do is, of course, you add those discs into your PS5, PS4, and heck, even some PS3 games back then did it, where you would just go ahead and just add the disc into the system, and then once you go ahead and do that, it's going to go ahead and start downloading the rest of the necessary kind of files and updates and stuff like that that it needed to your hard drive or to your SSD. So really, in reality, most of these games that we've been buying here, at least for the last couple of generations on other consoles, not on Nintendo, we really have never really been owning those games. It's just been a thing now for years. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's just pretty hypocritical from just gaming as a whole, just to be the one pointing and blaming the fingers on Nintendo. I will give them at least a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, is that at least whenever you go ahead and you buy a new Nintendo Switch 2 game, at least they're adding this game key card kind of detail into their front boxes or into the packaging of the Switch 2 games, that at least it'll at least let collectors like myself and stuff, or just people, just be aware that, hey, you're not getting the full game on the cartridge itself. All right, you're still going to have to go ahead and actually download the full game into your system. This is just more so key for you to actually go ahead and install the game. That some people are also saying that this is also going to be happening with some Nintendo games, and for now, from what we can tell, it's only primarily third-party games that are going to be using or taking the full advantage of the game key cards. Looking at Nintendo games or games have coming out at launch, and even some third-party games like Rune Factory and Cyberpunk 2077 on the Switch 2, those games are actually going to be fully into the actual cartridge itself, at least when you buy them physically. So there won't be really any downloading or anything like that required for you to get the full experience as soon as you pop in that cartridge into your Switch 2. So, and again, who knows what the future may tell. I mean, for now, we can just see that Nintendo themselves, at least first party wise, they're not going to be doing this. And one of the other things that I also wanted to go ahead and just quickly talk about and just run through here is that they recently, Nintendo had their EULA kind of updated for the purchase of the Switch 2 or Switch 1, kind of like their online services kind of agreements that you would sign when it comes to their user agreements here, for you to go ahead and use their systems and connect them to the online stores and everything, and play online. And one of the things that I want to go through here is, number 2 here under license, is that it does say here that if you do agree with the user agreement here, is that you are acknowledging that if you fail to comply with the foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable in whole or in part. Which basically what that actually translates to is that if Nintendo wants to, they're able to go ahead and at this point, of course, ban you from your own Nintendo account if you are either wanting to modify, hack, or like add some form of custom firmware into the Nintendo Switch 1 and Switch 2. They're able to go ahead, and if they catch you, they're able to go ahead and ban your Nintendo account, and as well as even potentially even brick and just shut down your entire Nintendo Switch 1 and Switch 2, where for me personally, I think that is a little bit too much. I get it, Nintendo for sure wants to go ahead and stop pirating in this day and age and stuff, especially with Switch 1, where a lot of piracy did kind of happen. Not gonna lie, there's been a lot of leaks and stuff like that has happened due to piracy. So I know that Nintendo for sure is one of those people that likes to crack down on that stuff. And not only that, Nintendo is also just very picky when it comes with how like their IPs are represented in such a way. They can for sure be very, very very strict in that regard. But I do want to say here, if you're somebody like, myself, or just some, just the normal people that don't want to go ahead and modify or whatever their systems, I know a lot of people wouldn't really care and would say like, whatever, this is fine. And not that I condone piracy or anything like that. I do believe that if you yourself have purchased the game or whatever, I think that you have full range into doing whatever you want with said game. I feel like even same goes with like devices and stuff. I think that's really how it should be. But I can understand both sides of the stories here, where like some people do want that freedom to do whatever, because again, they purchased the system, especially with the asking price, at least with the Switch 2 for $450. You know, I feel like in my own personal opinion, people that have spent that much money on your own product, I think they're allowed to custom modify and do whatever they want, you know, freely in that regard. But of course, if there is some form of malice intent, and them trying to go ahead and bypass or modify or whatever, you know, then for sure I feel like Nintendo can have the rights to go ahead and stop that. So I understand and can see both sides of the story as to why, you know, both sides of the arguments from Nintendo and like, you know, kind of a moderate consumer type of situation. But if you're somebody who's just a normal head who's not really caring and actually wants to use the system as how it's, you know, intended to be used, then I feel like there really shouldn't be like a big like, oh no, kind of, you know, reason for you to be pretty upset. Really, I think the only people that should be really upset, at least when it comes to that, are like actual like, you know, people that mod and hack and stuff like that their system. So in a way, I feel like if you're getting angry or really upset about it, in a way, you're kind of calling yourself out a little bit, I suppose. But again, Nintendo just are also just being a little bit too much in that regard as well. I mean, this is also coming from the same company that actually went ahead and is currently going through a lawsuit against the developers of Power World. And because of all this, Power World developers themselves, or at least the devs, they're now removing actual game features, because, you know, due to Nintendo and their legal pressures. So it's kind of insane. Like, one of the things that they actually went ahead and they removed here from Power, from what I've heard, is the ability to glide, which is really strange to me, because it's like every open world game has a gliding mechanic. Like, Nintendo has no right to just go ahead and just kind of, in a way, say that they own or are the creators of gliding in video games and shit like that. Like, I feel like it can actually go ahead and at this point just kind of be seen more so as like as a parody, which really isn't, you know, falls in line with like that being okay, and at least when it comes to in terms of like any form of lawsuits and stuff, from what I remember hearing. I mean, again, I'm not a lawyer or anything, so I don't really know the whole nitty gritty of things that's been going on, and I also haven't really been following the whole Power World situation as much. But that's pretty much my own 2 cents that I just wanted to go ahead and point out with you guys, at least when it comes with them upgrading their the user agreements for Nintendo, and as well as just kind of talking about a little bit more so about the game key cards. I know I've already made a video talking about like what a game key card is and stuff like that, and you know how it works and all that, but I just wanted to make this other video talking about it primarily for the game key card, because I just find it very annoying that people are just attacking Nintendo for them implementing, I guess, or creating this whole other way of us, like, you know, to have games and stuff, when, like I mentioned, PlayStation and Xbox have all been doing it as well. But at least with Nintendo, they're being really upfront with the consumer to letting us know in the packaging that, hey, this is a game key card, meaning that the full game is not actually on the cartridge itself, so you would have to download, you know, the full game onto your system once you do insert that game key card. So I don't know, you guys let me know how you guys feel about this whole debacle and stuff that's been going on with Nintendo. Do you guys agree with any of the points that I made here in this video? Are you guys very upset with this whole situation that's been going on? Again, just feedback and stuff like that, let me know in the comment section down below. But again, those are all just my opinions about the whole situation, and yeah, I'll just see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.